Hey everyone, it's Davis and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about why sports might actually be holding you back. So like always, before we get into the video, make sure that you subscribe and like this video so that I know you are enjoying the content. And without further ado, let's get into the reasons why you should probably stop watching sports. So the first reason is that sports tend to keep us off of our designed path and purpose in life. How many times have you been an avid sports fan of a team and you were just sucked into their season and you were just obsessed with everything that they're doing, more so than anything that is going on in your own life? It's distracting you from accomplishing your own goals or pursuing what you're trying to do in your business or your relationships. It's just negatively impacting everything else. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case for everybody that watches sports in this context. This is mainly for those obsessed fans with the team. However, for the most part, if you are someone that finds yourself super obsessed with a team, then that you might want to rethink that. The next reason is that you have no control over your own happiness. So when you're a fan of a team, your emotions are directly tied to the outcome of that team that you're rooting for, even though you have no control whatsoever to that team that you're rooting for, whether they win or not, which is an absolute asinine concept to me. Imagine spending hours every single day invested into watching a team, rooting for them, only for them to lose, that playoff game down the road or something like that. And you just to be devastated when you had no impact whatsoever on that team in the games that they won or the games that they lost. Or even worse, you're a fan of a team that just sucks and just loses every single game, and you're devastated every time that they lose that game. They're literally just bringing sadness into your life while simultaneously wasting your time. For me, I would much rather invest my time and energy into something that I'm responsible for and that I can control to some extent. So at least when, your team that you're rooting for loses, right? Instead of having no ability to change or impact that, well, maybe you invest that into, your fitness or your business or just literally anything else that you have some control over, so that when things go bad, you can be like, okay, well, you know what, we're going to change that and we're going to work on this and we're going to make it better, right? Another point that I want to bring up is how much these athletes are getting paid in professional sports. You look at somebody like a Patrick Mahomes a few years ago, I believe he signed like a 10-year, $500 million contract, right? Which is absolutely crazy to me. And a lot of these same people that are watching sports all the time are the ones that are complaining that these athletes are getting paid way too much money. When in fact, you, the one watching, are actually part of the problem. Because you're the one that's sitting here watching the TV broadcast every single week, getting them ad revenue, going to their games, paying $500 a ticket just to watch them play, right? And you wonder how they're getting a $500 million contract. And personally, I don't think it's a good thing that these athletes are getting paid that much money, like a Patrick Mahomes that's getting $500 million, or literally any star NBA or NFL player or MLB player or even PGA Tour player, right? Because what value are they actually providing to society, right? You look at somebody like a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, factory worker, even like fast food worker, right? Like they're all doing things that provide actual value to society. What value is somebody like a Patrick Mahomes providing to society other than just purely entertainment, right? All he is doing is just sucking up people's time and energy to watch him perform. Maybe it gives them a sense of happiness, right? Short term. But again, that brings us back to the last point that we made about, why is your happiness even tied to your sports team in the first place, right? It shouldn't be. So I think it's a very bad trend that society is going down in this regard. You look at the contracts that athletes have been paid, right, over the last 20, 30 years, and it has increased an absolute exponential amount in just those 20, 30 years. So I think as society, we need to be a little bit more cognizant of that. And I think there's a few reasons for why that happened, which leads us into our next point. One of those reasons is also the obsession with sports is leading to the idolization of all of these professional athletes, which if you're a religious person, you know that you should not idolize anyone but God. But even if you're not, I personally think it's not good to idolize anybody like that. Just purely from the standpoint of nobody's perfect, right? And you should take maybe bits and pieces from everybody and try and become the best person that you can be through watching and learning from other people. But you should not idolize someone and trying to copy every single thing they do and be exactly that, because nobody's perfect, right? I also think it's bad that the majority of especially young men today are idolizing these professional athletes more so than, you know, business leaders or people that, again, provide real value to society more so than these professional athletes. So if you are somebody that idolizes one of these athletes, I would maybe analyze why exactly you are idolizing them and maybe take bits and pieces from them that you can assess that they are good and implement them in your own lives. But you should not be idolizing them as a person and just taking everything that they say as, you know, the word of the gospel and doing it, because that's not gonna do anybody any good in the long run. And my last point is that if you are somebody that watches sports on a regular basis, it probably means that you have also dabbled in sports gambling to some extent. And I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people in here that are be like, well, you know, I made money from sports gambling, blah, 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 blah. But we all know that sports gambling is like the worst form of investment that you can possibly make. So first of all, in order to be a successful sports gambler, you probably have to watch the games or stay in tune with that sport to some degree. So first of all, that's gonna take up quite a bit of your time. Second of all, the odds are not at all in your favor, right? There's a reason that they're able to give you that money when you win, is because a lot of people are losing. And there's just other way better forms of investments to be made. So sports gambling, it's a trap. Don't do it. And it's becoming more and more popular because a lot of people on YouTube, like myself, are promoting sports gambling. You see things from like FanDom and Prize Picks, especially DraftKings, all over YouTube being sponsored. They suck you in, right, with like a free like pick or whatever, and they have made it like cool, like a part of culture. So just be careful with that, because it is a trap. So with all that being said, I'm not advocating to never watch sports ever again. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that when you are watching sports in the future, I think it's very important to detach yourself from the outcome of it so that it does not affect your personal mood and you can carry on with your life from there. I think that's the first big step. And also, I think a lot of people enjoy watching sports strictly from like the analytical perspective of it. Maybe they were a former player or a coach or something like that. And I think that's good because I think it promotes critical thinking skills. So yeah, I would really try and limit the time that you're watching sports, and maybe, you know, go out and play a sport instead. That would probably be a little bit more productive. So that's all for this week. Again, if you have not already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.